The story begins with the protagonist, a woman in her late 20s, receiving a letter from a lawyer informing her that her estranged uncle, a man she barely knew, had passed away and left her a significant inheritance. The catch? To claim her inheritance, she must visit his sprawling, isolated mansion in the countryside and stay there for 30 days. Intrigued and in need of financial stability, she decides to take the risk. She arrives at the mansion, a dark and eerie place filled with secrets. The lawyer explains that her uncle's will stipulates that she cannot leave the property during the 30-day period, or she will forfeit everything. As she settles into the mansion, strange things begin to happen. She hears whispers in the halls, finds doors that lock on their own, and discovers hidden rooms filled with old photographs and journals. Through these discoveries, she learns that her uncle was not the reclusive, eccentric man she had been told about. Instead, he was deeply involved in a web of family secrets and betrayals. She uncovers evidence that her parents, who had always claimed to be estranged from her uncle, were actually in close contact with him. They had conspired to cut her out of the family fortune years ago, fearing that she would uncover the truth about their past. Just as she begins to piece together the puzzle, her older sibling, a brother she hasn't seen in years, arrives at the mansion. He claims he received a similar letter and is also entitled to part of the inheritance. At first, they try to work together to uncover the truth, but tensions quickly rise as old rivalries resurface. Her brother is dismissive of her findings and insists that their parents were justified in their actions. He accuses her of being paranoid and ungrateful, further straining their already fragile relationship. One night, while exploring a hidden passage in the mansion, the protagonist discovers a secret room containing her uncle's true will. This will reveals that the entire estate was meant to go to her, as her uncle believed she was the only one who could uncover the family's secrets and set things right. The will also contains a shocking revelation. Her parents had been involved in a scheme to defraud her uncle years ago, and he had cut them out of his life as a result. Her brother, however, had been working with their parents all along, hoping to claim the inheritance for himself. Confronted with the truth, the protagonist's brother becomes hostile. He admits that he had been manipulating her from the start, hoping to drive her out of the mansion so he could claim the inheritance. He even confesses to being behind some of the strange occurrences in the house, using them to scare her into leaving. Feeling betrayed and cornered, the protagonist locks herself in the secret room, where she finds a hidden safe containing documents that could expose her parents' crimes. She realizes that her uncle had left her the inheritance not just as a gift, but as a responsibility to bring the truth to light. With her brother now actively trying to force her out of the mansion, the protagonist must find a way to survive the remaining days and protect the evidence she has uncovered. She uses her knowledge of the mansion's hidden passages to outmaneuver him, setting traps and creating diversions to keep him at bay. The tension builds as the days pass, with the brother growing increasingly desperate. In a climactic confrontation, he corners her in the mansion's library, demanding she hand over the documents. She refuses, and a physical struggle ensues. Just as it seems her brother has the upper hand, the protagonist reveals that she has already sent copies of the documents to her lawyer and the authorities. Her brother, realizing he has lost, flees the mansion in a rage. The protagonist survives the 30-day period and claims her inheritance. The documents she uncovered lead to a full investigation, exposing her parents' crimes and tarnishing their reputation. Her brother is arrested for his attempts to intimidate and harm her. With the mansion now hers, the protagonist decides to turn it into a museum dedicated to exposing the dark side of wealth and privilege. She uses her inheritance to fund the project, creating a space where others can learn from her family's mistakes. Though the betrayal still haunts her, she finds peace in knowing she has honored her uncle's wishes and broken the cycle of greed and deceit. She reconnects with distant relatives who had been wronged by her parents and begins to build a new, chosen family,